welcome back. If you want to see how I finish these locks, stay tuned. So it's going to be straight up voiceover today. Let's get right into the video. I have about 3 braids left. I'm using this razor because I didn't want the ends to be blunt, and I think that's a very important step in doing this, so that the ends are still tapered. So the razor is going to help them be feathered rather than a blunt cut if I had used scissors. And I'm just doing the same thing to all the braids. You know, my baby in the back, you know they don't come around until you're doing something. Now I'm just getting the hair that I'm using for my ends. This is just some human hair. It was deep wave and I bleached it. You're just going to take the hair and you're going to add it in as if you would do like a box braid or any other micro braid or anything of that nature. And you're just going to plait it in until all the blonde hair or whatever hair you use, until it's all covered up and you pretty much got it far enough so it can be secure. I'm sorry, at some points the video gets blurry. It's the setting on my camera. But I'm just taking those scissors and I'm trimming off all of that hair that's sticking out. And that's pretty much it. So you just go on and do that for the rest of the hair. Now I've braided all those in with the human hair. I'm going in with some crochet hair or any curly hair, but you want it to be very, very tightly curly so we can have this natural type look to it. It makes the locks just look so much more authentic to me. It just gives it texture. I love texture. So you just crochet it in and you're going to leave one end shorter, and you're going to start wrapping the longer piece of the hair over that shorter piece. And this doesn't have to be extremely tight, but you don't want it loose either. But the problem is, if you do it too loose, then your hair is going to move and it's going to expose your braid. You don't want that. If you do it too tight, then it's not going to have this loose texture to it, and it makes the locks very stiff. This is definitely the longest part of the process and the most tedious. Like if you don't practice on this and do this carefully, then it ruins the whole hairstyle. This is the most important step. But the cool thing about it, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. If you do it kind of, I wouldn't say raggedy, but you know, ragged, it gives a lock texture as if it was a natural lock. You know, natural locks aren't all just smooth and, you know, one way throughout. They have knots and lumps and things of that nature. So if you do it, you know, however you want to do it and kind of messy, then it just gives it this distressed look. My facial expressions are hilarious. Like, I'm so focused. Look over my face. And once you come almost, not all the way, to the end of that hair, then you want to get your second piece and do it the same way you did as if you were crocheting it in. Once again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You want it to have some messiness to it and some texture to it. But you just add that second piece in and keep wrapping. I try to get close so you can kind of see what I'm doing with my hands a little bit better and from different angles. But I'm holding it tight with that finger, my pointer finger and my thumb. And then with my other hand, I'm just wrapping it around. And as I wrap it, I'm catching it with that finger and wrapping it around. Catch it, just holding it and assisting me in continuing to wrap it at the same time. Something that I also do that's important sometimes is to take that hair and push it upward. The hair that you've already wrapped, you take it and push it upward. That also makes it a little more tight and has less chance of it moving. But you don't want to do that the whole time because, like I said, it makes the locks stiff, and you also don't want the locks to be stiff. You see me stretching my arms out so far. These locks are really long. But once you get to the end of where the braided part ends and it's just the human hair left, you want to turn around and take the hair and wrap it back upward. This is to get rid of the hair, of course, but at the same time, it makes the ends more secure. Here, I'm taking off some of the hair. I'm going to cut it. That keeps it from being bulky and still have that not textured but feathered ends to where they're thinner, like they go from the thickest point to the thinner point and not look all bulky. Then you're just going up and then you come back down and you want to secure it, which I take the end of that hair, you'll see, and I tie it in a knot. Once it gets all the way to the end, I tie it in a small knot. Not at the very end of the lock, but somewhere around the middle. More security. Some people also use nail glue. I didn't care to use nail glue, and I was fine with however they did, whatever they do. But nail glue works as well. And then I go over the whole lock and I just do this distressing to it. It's like making it lock, because you know with locks, they lock because the hair is matted. So I'm pretty much just assisting this hair in matting on itself. Same process. I'm not going to talk through this one, but just watch. I'm just going to show you how to do it on the last one. But you really have to find out which way works for you. As you can see, I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going to wrap it. That makes it easier and for me to wrap it correctly. So that may take some practice, especially if you're new at doing this. And we're done. This is the last one. Isn't that just the most exciting feeling ever? I call this my holy grail of hair products. I love Jamaican black castor oil. And so I'm just massaging it into my scalp. This is a very important step as well. It promotes hair growth. The oil promotes hair growth, and so does massaging your scalp. And there are great techniques to use when you have braids. Moisture. You need moisture. Water is a good moisturizer by itself. So I'm using this water-based leave-in conditioner spray. This also feels so good after you just use your braids. Now, because the hair on the ends is human hair, you want to keep that moisturized as well. And it's going to activate that curl pattern. Now I'm using that water-based moisturizer and then a leave-in conditioner. This is a cream-based. I was in love with these braids. These are just some clips of how I styled them and wore them on my mini vacation. This is a great vacation hairstyle. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed.